The most important 5D lesson about manifestation. Your speech is magical. Every spoken word is a command to the matrix. The 5D shift is magnifying everything. As always, my recommendation is to question your reality and then change it. ThunderWizard.com is the website that supports this YouTube channel. Please go there, check out all of the ways that you can subscribe, and check out the shop for all of the advanced single practices and videos and courses. My books can be found at michaelwilliamdenny.com. And I can also use your help if you go to support.thunderwizard.com. Take a look at the video I have on there about what I'm going to talk about today. Is I'm learning a very hard lesson, which is one that I've learned. But sometimes, unless if you're not paying attention, which I haven't been in some areas, and so I'm going to fix that right here and right now. And that has to do with my speech, what I say about reality, what I say about myself, what I say about my future. And I am learning a very hard lesson about that. So as you may or may not know, I uploaded a video just recently. Right there. I'm not going to repeat it. I've said it once. I won't repeat it. But there have been... My speech has not been as powerfully supportive as it could be. And so the lesson that I'm learning is a lesson that I learned a long time ago, meaning, probably, a couple of years ago. And it was a direct communication from a light being who told me this. In yellow, what he said to me was, what you say is what you mean, and what you mean becomes the truth. He also, in telepathic communication, sometimes two words come at the same time. And so when he said what you mean is the truth, I also heard the word your troth. Troth, Troth. That used to be the word for truth. So in English there used to be two words for truth. One was troth and the other was soth. You've heard it in Shakespearean tongue as forsooth. Sooth means truth. Soth was the Old English, and it came from an ancient Indo-European word, sant or sat. They still use that in a lot of yogic. They talk about sat. Satya Yuga. You've heard me talk about the yugas. Satya. It means the truth of essence. So we don't use that word anymore in English because it shows the mindset of modern English speakers, which is we don't think about the truth of essence. We think about the truth of, what people used to call cash register honesty, which is like, just giving the basic superficial truth about, how many tires you have on your car. You got 4 tires on your car. That's the truth. Does it have anything to do with me? No, I'm just looking at something, saying the obvious, the superficial truth. But sat or soth used to mean the truth of essence. So your forsooth, your soth, your sat is the truth of who you are. You can't separate that. And your troth is what you commit to. So unfortunately, we don't use either of those words anymore. And truth just means, yeah, it's true that the sun rises from east to west, and that we've arbitrarily decided there are 24 hours in a day. That's the truth. Truth is I have 2 eyes, 2 ears, those truth. But real truth, the truth that gives life of essence, we really don't have that in our modern society. So when this light being said to me in yellow there, what you say is what you mean, and what you mean becomes the truth, or what you mean becomes your truth. And truth is important because truth isn't the physical truth of what's out there. Truth means what you commit to being your truth. You know, when English royals get married, they still talk about giving their troth. We still have the word betrothal. You know, when you're betrothed to somebody else, it means you've committed yourself to them. Your troth. So what he was saying was that what you say is what you mean. And what you mean is your troth. What the interesting part about that is that might not have anything to do with your internal feelings. So again, this is where the law of attraction has failed. People say the law of attraction as it's taught by many people is that your feelings attract similar feelings. So in other words, if you want to be rich, you have to think about money and have a bunch of positive feelings about it. And then those positive feelings that are associated with money float out there to the money that's floating around. Again, there's so many assumptions here. And then that feeling then takes that and brings it to you. And so you're required to have a certain feeling. But that's not what this light being was saying. It was an interesting being. I remember that I was in interdimensional meditation and I was communicating with a bunch of different beings in this, and I asked, is there any beings out there that want to speak to me? And this being showed up, and he seemed, if I remember him, being kind of short, and I don't know if, what being he was. Anyway, and I can't really remember what he said. He told me some things, and then I said, is there anything else that you would like to say to me? I do this all the time when I'm interacting with higher dimensional beings. And he sort of sidled up to me and he said, and the feeling was, well, since you've asked, what you say is what you mean. And what you mean is the truth. And then he left. So he was trying to let me know this was very important information. So that goes against a lot of what we believe. We believe our feelings are the most important thing. People say, I didn't mean to do anything wrong, right? I didn't mean to make that mistake. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to do that. And usually, depending on the situation, people say, we don't care what you mean. This is what you did. So you have to fix that. You have to pay for that. You have to, whatever it is. And so what he was saying very clearly was, it's what you say. And when you say something, when you put the effort into manufacturing the words and then speaking them out of your mouth, what he was saying was, whether or not that exists in reality, or whether or not that is your truth, whether or not that is your sat, or whether or not it's your feelings, once you put it into words and speak it, you have now decided that that is what you mean to be true. And you have now committed your energy to create it. So if you've watched a recent video, I've got some issues. I've got some real 3D issues that I need to fix, and I've asked for help on the channel for that. And I'm realizing it's because there are things that I've said in videos in the guise of being transparent about how I'm feeling. which is important. But what I've realized is that I set that up. And it was coming from inside of me, and then I was putting it into words and creating it. So one of the things I want your help with is you have my permission to point out to me if I'm getting lost in negativity. So one of the things that I'm going to start working on, listen, I know what is going on. I mean, I know what is going on underneath the surface. I know what they are doing. And I hint at it a lot, and I talk about some of it a lot. And I'm not going to do that anymore. Because by doing that, I am focusing on negativity. In fact, one of my clients called me out on that today. And if you're watching this, you know who you are. And I appreciate that. Now, that isn't the same as me coming to you and giving you some harsh truth about yourself if you're my client and what you're doing. But by me talking about that negativity, I'm continuing to buy into it. It doesn't mean that I'm unaware of what's going on. It doesn't mean that. Because here's the truth. That's not my job. There are people out there whose job it is to point that out. I think Dr. Stephen Greer is one of those people. His job is to point out what they are doing. That's not my job. My job is to create a new reality, is to destroy the old reality and to create a new one. To talk about the negativity and the negative things, the frightening, unsavory things that are going on. To talk about them, to hint about them, to point at them, is just redundant. I'm just talking about what already exists. And that's not my job. My job is to create, and I am a creator. I've come to realize I have incredibly powerful creative manifestive skills, especially when it comes to the collective of planet Earth. I have huge power. And so I need to be responsible with that. So going forward from here, I am going to put effort into speaking the truth of the new world I wish to create. And the truth of what exists in higher dimensions and what we can have, which is we are surrounded by love. We are surrounded by support. So, in terms of the things that I spoke about in my previous video, those things are going to get fixed. And I'm going to end up far better off. 10 times better off than I was before. And it has put a fire under me to commit even more to being helpful to the world without any thought about myself. So I went through a pretty difficult challenge when August 6th came around, and if you watched the channel, you know what happened, and I kind of went into kind of a tailspin because of that. And I think the thing that happened to me today was a direct result of that. It was a manifestation of that. So I'm going to commit myself to helping the world and helping create this new world. And I want your help. So the way that you can do that is by following my suggestions. That's the first one. So I've talked about that. So there's a way that you can be bulletproof. So if you're struggling with negativity, with fear, with if you're manifesting things you don't want to manifest, there are 3 things you can do which will make you bulletproof. The first one is to do the energy practices that I teach. You can find that, of course, here at thunderwizard.com and all the different ways that you can subscribe and all the things in the shop. Those practices, you don't have to do all of them. You can pick the one that works for you. Do something. The energy practices. Second thing is to go and look at the 12 steps to 5D. Just before I made this video, I did a couple of 10th steps. So if you want to know what a 10th step is, go and do that. Do them. Don't just watch them. Do those. The 12 steps are by far the most powerful human method of transforming and creating a new reality. And then the third one is working with somebody. So having a mentor to work with. I make myself available for that. You can go to thunderwizard.com and subscribe as an apprentice. And that is those three things, the energy work, which includes mantra, energy work, and these live guided interdimensional meditations, those are extremely powerful energy practices. So I'm not trying to, forget that. That's lumped in there. If that's one of your main practices, by all means, you're doing it. So, what was I saying? So, energy work, the 12 steps to 5D, or actually being in a 12-step program. If you've got one, go do that with a sponsor. And then working with a mentor. It's so important that you get out of just being trapped in yourself. Got to have teachers, of all, whatever it is. You want to go learn astrology, you want to go learn yoga, you want to go learn, having mentors and teachers that you work with, it's very important. So those three things can make you bulletproof. And if you can, all those three things will help your speech, helping your speech. And remember that when we get into 5D, it's going to be very different. So I did make a list here. So in 5D, your words create faster than in 3D. So in 3D, up until now, there's been a lag time, and people can get away with a lot. In fact, the word spell, which means to write, you spell a word. It's because when people first started using like runes and symbols for words, it had power. This is why my ancestors, used to name their blades, their swords, because those created a spell. And I remember hearing about a tribe in Africa. This was when I was an actor, and I was talking about how important it is, how powerful your words are as an actor when I was teaching acting. But when these people wanted to cut down a tree, they would gather around the tree and they would yell at it. Call it names, call it, I mean, I don't like that idea, but that would kill the tree. So, people have known that. In fact, if you go back into my ancestral understanding, your troth was the most important thing. And if you knowingly spoke something that wasn't true, you were denying your own existence. Same is true with many Native American tribes. The white man speaks with forked tongue because they didn't have a word for lying, because who would do that? Because you speak something with your breath of life. If you knowingly speak an untruth, you're denying your own existence. So the power of words creates. So way back when, we knew that. In modern times, we have forgotten that, but that's going to change. Watch what happens. People are going to be held responsible for what they say. So in 5D, your words create faster than in 3D. Feelings don't create a reality immediately. Words do. I'm saying this because we do need to be responsible for the emotions that we indulge in. Listen to my words very carefully. You can't control feelings that pop up. I mean, the more work that you do, the more ability you will have to do that. But the truth of the matter is, that feelings just come up, responses come up, reactions come up, thoughts come up. So this idea of controlling your thoughts, you first have to be able to know what you're feeling. So it's not telling. I'm not telling you to deny your feelings. And that light being didn't say anything about you have to control your feelings. He didn't say anything about that. What he said was, what you speak is what you mean, and what you mean becomes truth. So you might not necessarily mean it until you say it. That's why, in relationships, typically, stereotypically it's the women, although don't get me, in that argument. So stereotypically the woman says, I love you. And the man will say, I know. She'll say, you say it. And he says, I don't need to. You already know. My actions tell you. She says, no, I need to hear it. I need to hear you say it. In relationships, I don't, maybe things are different now, but I remember, when did you say you loved her? When did she say she loved you? That's a big deal. And for a man, if you told a woman you loved her, that meant you were committed. And so, you didn't say that right away until you were ready. Because we understand that word means something. I love you means that you're committed to that action. It creates everything. I just need to hear it. So, feelings, on the other hand, just having a feeling by itself doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So, what that being was saying is you can have whatever feeling you want. I'm not telling you to not have any negative feelings or fears or any of that. What I'm telling you is that be aware and choose what you say, because then your commitment is behind it and you mean it. Then it becomes the truth. So having a feeling doesn't make it true. Taking actions towards it and speaking is an action. It becomes true. All right, so when you speak something, you commit your energy to it. Acknowledge your feelings, and you can say something like, it feels like, and understand that feelings aren't facts. So I'm not telling you not to talk about your feelings with somebody you trust. But preface it with, I have this feeling, or it feels to me like. Because then you're speaking that it's just a feeling. You're not speaking it as a commitment. Because, the superficial idea of, controlling your thoughts and controlling your feelings. And, people think that you're somehow spiritual. You have to control your thoughts. You have to control your feelings. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. You can't control. Thoughts are reactions. The being didn't say what you think is what's true. And so many people believe that. So many people think that's spiritual, especially Westerners. People in Western magic think that. Your thoughts create. Your thoughts don't create. Your thoughts are reactions to things. Indulging in thoughts, indulging in feelings, that's different. That's why the law of attraction isn't completely false. You sit on the edge of your bed and you indulge in feelings, create feelings. That can have a big impact on what's created. But, the problem is you have this unconscious mind. So you can consciously be feeling or thinking something, but your unconscious mind, meaning you're not aware of it, is programmed to do something else, constantly speaking something else. So the good news is your unconscious mind doesn't have to control you. Your commitment to what you want and taking direct actions. You have control over your actions. You have control over your speech. You have control over these things. If you don't have control over them, you can get control. The Nexium cult leader guy, one of the things that amazed me about it, the guy was, he was what he was. But one of the things that was amazing to me was that he worked with people with Tourette's syndrome and he cured them. And he basically, because of who he was, I'm not going to badmouth him, but basically because of who he wasn't swayed by their intense emotions and their impulses. He wasn't codependent about it. And he basically taught them that you're choosing to do this, whether it's blurting things out or punching yourself or whatever. They do all kinds of crazy things. And their experience is that they can't control their impulses, and then they tell themselves it's something in the brain, and then it becomes a diagnosis. And once you make a diagnosis out of it, then it's out of your control. That's why it's really important not to do that, not to buy into diagnoses. And basically the 12 steps teach you to take responsibility for what you choose and how you act. Don't have to change your feelings. You don't have to even change your thoughts. You have to put effort into not indulging in thoughts. Negative thoughts come up. You can choose to grab onto that and indulge in it. And that's been some things I've been doing, and I'm not beating myself up because, as you know, I'm on the edge of this 3D, 5D reality thing, and sometimes it's a challenging place to be. So, anyway, I was talking about something here. So acknowledge your feelings, say it feels like feelings aren't, and realize that feelings aren't facts. When you say something is this or something is that, you commit to its existence. And your thoughts, when you consciously think that, it's not as powerful as speaking it, but you're still creating it. So you can choose to stop those thoughts, and you can choose to say things that you don't feel and you don't believe. Again, this is where Christianity went off the mark. Christianity said, if you confess with your mouth that you believe Jesus is this, that, or the other, then you're saved. It didn't matter if you felt it inside. It was that if you choose to believe something that you didn't believe. It creates cognitive dissonance. So, anyways, what was I saying? So when you say something is this or that, you commit to its existence. So anyway, it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but you don't have to feel it to be true. You can be looking at something and feel, you can have whatever fears and feelings you have, but you make the decision to think otherwise. Almost on a daily basis. Probably on a daily basis. I do this with myself. Negative feelings will come up. Fears will come up. And I will tell myself, I do this on a regular basis. I'll look out the window. Here I'm living for, next few days I'm living in this rental, and then I'm going to be going back to the house that I rent for most of the year. Wasn't my first choice to come here. I wanted to stay there, but the landlord owns that house and he has the right to come and live there a few weeks out of the year, and I knew it was coming, and I rented this place. But the truth is that this is a really nice little place. I'm in a forest. I'm in this thick forest. It's like a jungle. It's beautiful. And so instead of going down some negative path, what I do is I get up and I look out the window and I go, man, I love this beautiful forest. I love this beach. I love walking on this beach. I love the sunshine. And I'll go through all the things that I have gratitude for. My fingers work. There are people my age that have, all kinds of diseases and things that don't, I don't have any of that. I'm completely pain-free. I'm completely healthy. And so I'm always able to find something I'm very grateful for. And that's a way of changing what I'm focusing on. And so now I'm going to start changing what I talk about. I'm going to start focusing on our new world that we're creating. And so, again, I give you the right to point it out to me. If I start going down some negative path, you can say, hey, Mike, you said that you wanted us to let you know when you were going down a negative path. In any case, so the most powerful manifestation is to speak what you most deeply desire. So speak about what you truly want, what you truly love, and speak about that. That's where you are, that's where you're going to be, that's where you want to be. Speak that and put that into your speech. Concentrate on that in your thoughts. Be aware that your 3D mind and body they react to things. And so all the stuff that negatively comes through us, they're just reactions. Reactions aren't what you mean. What you mean is what you choose to mean. What you choose to say, what you choose to focus on, what you choose to create, what you choose to manifest. So the first place to start is your speech. All right, that's it, my friends. Thank you so much. Again, thunderwizard.com is the way to support this channel. I do have a donation option, and that is because, again, I'm really looking forward to having all of my money back into my checking account and more. And so here are some ways that you can help me with that. Donating $100 will give you a rune reading or a video question or a 30-minute personal consult. That would be my gift to you for that donation. 250 donation I'd be happy to give you a video Vedic astrology reading as my gift to you. A $500 donation, I would be really happy to give you a video rune reading plus an astrology reading. A $750 donation, that would give me absolute joy to give back to you as a gift, the Maushan Spirit Fighting vids. Again, you're getting discounts off of the purchases from that. A $1,000 donation, I would be absolutely thrilled to give back to you as a gift 4 personal consultations. And if you want to get me back to where I was, a $6,000 donation, you can write your own ticket. You and I can talk over, and I'll make available to you all kinds of stuff. The way that if you want to learn exactly what happened, you can go to support.thunderwizard.com and watch the video there. And the way to do this is to go to paypal.com and to donate to my personal email, which is 5elementtao. Make sure you spell it out correctly. The word 5, the word element, the word tao, at gmail.com. And please remember to use the friends and family option, because that way I won't have to pay a fee. So, people sometimes forget to do that, and they have done that in the past. See, I'm doing it right now. Do you see I corrected myself? I said in the past. People in the past have forgotten to do that, and it's the same to them, but PayPal takes a fee or took a fee out of it. So please remember to use the friends and family. Now, if you're not comfortable with that for whatever reason, I totally understand. Then go to thunderwizard.com and go to the shop. All of those things are still available to you at the normal prices. And I am so grateful for all the support that you have given me over the years and you're giving me now. I am so grateful for all of the people who are already subscribed and committing and have supported the channel and given me the ability to put all my time and effort into this. And I am so grateful to all of those of you who have already donated and helped me work out this issue. And I'm grateful to all those of you who are going to donate. I'm really looking forward to being in a much better spot than I was, and I already am, just because of the lesson that you and the universe have allowed me to experience just by talking about this. And so anyway, I'm sharing that with you. This is how this works. We give what we want to others. So this video is my gift to you. Thank you so much, my friends. And again, please do remember that we have the live guided interdimensional meditations, and these are every Wednesday and Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. These are the most important things we can possibly do. And by coming and being a part of those meditations, whether you do it live or watch them after they've been recorded, I'm so grateful for it. And the universe all I can speak for all conscious beings in the universe, including the gods. We are so grateful to you for being a part of those meditations. Thank you so much. That's it for me, my friends. I love you all, and I appreciate everything that you are and everything that you do. And as always, please take very good care of yourself, and I will see you all very soon.